The lake house I've been renovating has 3 bedrooms, and this is the smallest of the 3. I'm going to turn it into the office of my dreams. I'm Melissa from Welcome to the Woods. Follow along as I take this room from boring to beautiful. First, I'm removing old finishes, including ripping up the stained and smelly carpeting, the underlayment, and all the staples. Then I hammered underneath all of the tack strips and pulled them up as well. They were not easy to get up. They used some big nails. I removed the baseboards as well because painting this room, it'll be easier. Now I'm going to remove the old drapery and the bar along the top of the windowsill. Unfortunately, it went into the window casing, so I'm going to have to patch and restain that later on. I also removed the ceiling fan. The ceiling fan is just outdated. I didn't want a fan in the room. I have much grander plans for the light fixture. Now that everything was demolished, I'm going to first work on scraping the ceiling texture. So I plasticed off the whole floor, and we're going to tackle this ceiling to make it flat. I simply sprayed it with water and dish Dawn soap mixture and then let it soak in for a few minutes, got on my gear and sprayed it again and scraped. I've done this in a lot of rooms in this house, and it's not as scary as you might think, but there are some precautions that you need to take. So be sure to watch my video on how to remove popcorn ceilings in order to get all the details. After the messy job of scraping the popcorn texture off the ceilings, I had to wipe everything down to get rid of the dust and the mess on the walls. With the walls clean, I can come in and patch the holes from like 100 nails and such that were all over the place. And then I'm finally ready to start painting. I cut in first with just a crisp white paint. I'm going to roll this by hand. It's just easier than spraying in such a small room. The ceiling color is anything but boring. I chose Village Green by Behr, which is kind of a sage. Everything got 2 coats of paint, and when it was opaque, I was ready to move on to working on baseboards. The baseboards get sanded all the way down. I'm going to fill all the nail holes as well. I just want to refinish these to look brand new. While I was sanding, I also came in and sanded the whole front face of the window trim to blend in where I filled the blemishes. I'm going to stain this at the same time. It's all going to match the existing trim work. Because the trim work in this house is a few decades old, it is faded, and I couldn't find an exact match in the stain at the store, so I mixed 2 colors together, American Walnut and Chestnut by Varathane, to get a custom match. I only put 1 coat on, wiped it off, and then resealed these. I planned an amazing 3-dimensional design on my ceiling accent, so I had to figure out how to paint these fretwork panels I got from architecturaldepot.com. I came up with this idea of using like a Lazy Susan. I taped some cardboard onto it just to protect it from getting spray all over. And then I put 2 2x4 scraps on top to lift up the fretwork panel. And now I have like a homemade little spraying station, so I can paint these fretwork panels with my little sprayer without like getting drips and stuff from trying to roll or brush these. I love to do home remodels to make my spaces look more aesthetically beautiful, but one home improvement that is often overlooked is making your spaces more safe and functional. One of those products that I've gotten recently, it's drastically improved our quality of life, is a water filter. This water filter from Waterdrop has so many functions and is so user-friendly. That is why they are the sponsor of this video. Before now, we've only had the water tap at our kitchen sink, and I wanted a water filtration system because we've been dealing with some little black stains on our teeth, even though we have city water. If you missed it, I fabricated my own kitchen countertops in the past out of 100% acrylic solid surface, so I was able to set the template and drill a hole for my Waterdrop faucet all by myself. It has multiple filtration systems, including 2 carbon filters, a pre-sediment filter, reverse osmosis, and a UV light that kills any microorganisms living in your water. I love how accessible these filters are. You can change them so easily. A lot of these types of machines are so hard to change the filters when they need changing. And right on the faucet, it actually shows you how the filters are doing. The light turns yellow if they need replacing soon and red if they're ready for replacement. This reverse osmosis system doesn't have a holding tank. I know the one my parents bought in the past had like a 2-gallon tank, and so you couldn't just fill however much water you wanted. You had to kind of be limited by that. And this one just works on demand and has an 800-gallon capacity. It's so impressive. Because of this, it also takes up way less space underneath my sink. The cords are all pushed in the back. You simply need a power outlet, a connection to the cold water inlet, and then a drain hose down into your main sink drain. It's that easy to install and you still have space for other stuff under your sink. Overall, the minimalist design and water drop faucet's rigorous filtration system makes this the ultimate choice for my family. I hope you'll consider it for yours by clicking the link in the description and checking it out. It is worth the money to invest in your health and have clean, perfect drinking water. To install the fretwork panels on my ceiling, I lined up my laser level centered on the light fixture, and then I placed my first panel centered on that. I'm going to build everything in the design off of this. After I got my first one nailed into place, it was very easy to just keep building off. These fretwork panels are perfectly square, and so it all worked out without continuing to use the level. I'm using my cordless brad nailer and a 1 3/8 inch nail. I didn't want to nail too long that I might hit wires in the ceiling or any ductwork possibly, so I picked something that was just long enough to go through the 1/2 inch fretwork panel, the drywall, and not much more. Around the edges of the wall where I had to cut the fretwork panels, I taped 3 together, and then I used a jigsaw to cut it to width. Now, I could have used like a table saw or something with a smoother cut, but the edges of this accent ceiling are going to be covered with crown molding anyway, so my cut didn't have to be perfectly straight or clean. The cut rows finished out the ceiling perfectly, and now it's time to move on to crown molding. I wanted crown molding to extend the height of the walls up, so I painted it the same color as the white on the walls. I was going to paint it green on the ceiling, but I was worried it would pull the dark ceiling down and make the room feel smaller. Painting the crown the same color as the walls had the effect I hoped, and it made the room look taller and bigger. I installed the crown using these corner pieces, which made it so easy. I just stuck the 90-degree corner in, nailed it in place, and then built off of there. This eliminates the need for compound miter cuts that make crowns so difficult and confusing. When I needed to extend a piece longer, I did do an angled cut, like a 30-degree beveled cut, so that my 2 pieces blended seamlessly together and it extended all the way to the corner. When I was done installing crown, I filled all my nail holes on the white pieces of molding with wood filler, and I caulked all my seams before giving it another coat of paint. This just makes it seamless, perfect, and blend in nicely. I didn't fill my nail holes in the ceiling because you can barely see them against the green, but on the white crown they're quite visible. Then I installed my new light fixture, but you'll have to wait till the end to see this beauty. I could now turn my attention back to the floors. Although I removed the carpet, I still wanted a warm, cozy feeling in this room, and I also wanted it to dampen a lot of sound, so I decided to reinstall carpet, but this time tiles. These carpet tiles aren't like a roll of carpet where they need tack strips to hold them in place. They hold in place with the special technology on the back that utilizes the physics behind molecular gravity to suction to any hard floor. It doesn't move around unless you pick it up and break the suction. Placed next to each other and staggering the seams, these carpet tiles allow the whole room to get carpeted beautifully. While the seams are slightly visible when I'm done, I'm also adding a rug to cover some of them up, and I was pleasantly surprised how great it actually looked. They do vacuum very well without pulling up. These carpet tiles are especially DIY friendly because you can also cut them with a utility knife. That's it. You just score it and then cut it all the way through, and it's so easy to cut even complicated things like around this door jamb that I did. All the products I'm showing in this video are linked in the description below, so if there's something that you want to shop for, just click there. Now that the room had wall-to-wall carpet, I could replace the baseboards. I used my brad nailer again, this time with a slightly longer nail, and I lined up my nails with where the studs were going to be. I'm using magnetic stud finder to find exactly where to put my nails and make this molding suck really tight up against the wall. When that was finished, it looked so good, and I did a couple carpet angels to celebrate. Now comes the fun part, decor. I am going to repurpose this big frame I got at a thrift store and turn it into a beautiful faux canvas painting. I removed the backing off of this print and took out the cardboard, took out the glass. I'm going to wrap the glass with a bed sheet. So I put down some Mod Podge, spread it evenly, and then laid down my flat sheet. Ironing beforehand did get out most of the wrinkles, but I also used a credit card to smooth out from the center and make sure that it was perfectly flat. Now I could start painting. I decided to paint this kind of field like with golds and greens, and I used some colors from the house renovation so that everything kind of blended and matched. I used the green from the ceiling for the tree line, and I used the red from the front door on the fields. The wooden frame I took outside and shot with some gold metallic spray paint. Even though it was only like 30 degrees, I just did my best, and surprisingly, the spray paint did adhere just fine. I put the painting back together and it was ready to hang in the room. To accentuate my new painting, I wanted to hang some accessory lighting on either side. These sconces are not hardwired. I simply placed the lighting where I wanted it, and then I used a magic LED bulb that recharges in a regular lamp socket and then turns on and off with a remote to make this lighting functional and so easy to install. Last to add to the room was more tapestry, like these thick blackout velvet curtains that are in the color champagne. They look amazing in this room and brought such a vibe of luxury. I also rolled out a rug that pulled the colors of the design together, and I, of course, assembled my office furniture. This room's transformation really was extreme, from a blue bedroom that was outdated and dirty and kind of bland because there was really no architectural features, to this office which has interest from the top to the bottom, and it has a completely different feel. Working in this space is very comfortable and quiet because of the layering of the different textiles. The carpet is soft and plush and cozy. The curtains, the chandelier, the ceiling are so fancy that they give a vibe of luxury in the space. I am so excited to get a lot of work done in this office. I love that I now have a spot away from home that's quiet and I can really focus on my computer work in regards to Welcome to the Woods. It is crazy to look back on what it was before into what it's become now, and I never tire of looking at before and afters when I complete a remodel like this, because it just shows you really can do anything you want with your two hands. If you like to watch my renovations in real time, be sure to come follow me on Instagram. The link is in the description, where I share in my stories as I'm working on projects, and you'll usually be the first to see my reveals. If you enjoy my content and want to support me in making more, then you can send in the super thanks or support me on Patreon. The link is also in the description for that, and I appreciate you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to Welcome to the Woods, as what's coming up next is a bathroom remodel, and I can't wait to share that with you. Thank you as always for watching. We'll catch you again next time.